Hello everyone, so the time as I record this is 20 minutes to 2. And yes, I know that most of the lights here are still on, but I promise you, it is 20 minutes to 2 as I record this, at least. Anyways, you may or may have not heard of the news that the Secretary for the Department of the Interior and Local Government, Mr. John Vic Remulla, has made a suggestion yesterday, as I record this, that he would like to see reform in the Sangguniang Kabataan, or the Youth Council, here in the Philippines. And he has also suggested that he would like to see it abolished altogether. So many people have made some comments of their own concerning this issue, and you can make up your own minds about this. But I have made up my own mind about it, and a lot of people will not be happy about what I'm going to say. I am in favor of abolishing the Sangguniang Kabataan. Now, let me finish. Look at the time on this video. I am not done, alright? I am not finished with what I am about to say. There's a bit of nuance into my argument because yes, indeed, I am in favor of abolishing every single youth council here in the Philippines. If you don't know, the Sangguniang Kabataan, or the Youth Council, is present in every single barangay here in the Philippines, and I would like to see it abolished, but not in the way that Mr. Remulla would like to do. He has made the argument that he would just abolish it altogether without making any other reforms to the local government code, which is utterly disastrous because that will just entrench political dynasties here in the Philippines at even the lowest or the most local government or most local unit of government here in the Philippines. So what I'm actually advocating for is not just the abolition of the Youth Council, but also a much bigger set of reforms that should and must come alongside it to make the abolition effective and actually necessary. So, okay, we're 3 minutes into the video. So, what I would actually like to see after you abolish the Youth Council of every single barangay here in the Philippines is to enact proportional representation and majoritarian electoral systems or voting systems. There are two ways to achieve that. For single member winners, you would use ranked choice voting, where you rank all the candidates and whoever gets a majority of the votes wins. If there isn't a majority, there would be an instant runoff for the lowest ranking candidate, or the one with the least amount of number one votes would be eliminated, and their number two votes would be reallocated to the remaining candidates. That's for single member winners. Then there would be another set of reforms, proportional representation through single transferable vote that would be applied to the legislatures, including the barangay councils, the city councils, municipal councils, provincial boards, or if you would like to see a much more refreshing change to the local government code, regional assemblies or regional councils. Maybe we should standardize the names of all legislatures from the regional level down to regional councils, provincial councils, and so on and so on and so on. But for the single transferable vote, same thing. You just rank all the candidates from 1 to however candidates there may be, or from 1 to the minimum amount of candidates needed to make your vote valid, and then those votes will be counted. There will then be a quota decided which goes like, I think it goes the amount of seats available plus 1 divided by the amount of formal votes. Actually, no, that should be flipped. It's the amount of formal votes divided by the amount of seats available plus 1. So there will be, so say there are 100,000 valid votes. That would be 100,000 divided by, let's go with 4 seats available plus 1, and then another plus 1, which means the quota would be 20,001 if 100,000 people voted. If any single candidate reaches 20,001 votes, they get elected. The remaining ones are reallocated. If that person who just got elected has a surplus, so let's say he received 22,000 votes, that the remaining 1,999 votes, actually no, all of those votes, or really, depending on what counting system are you using, those votes, those extra votes will be reallocated in certain ways. I'm not going to dive deep too much into how counting works in single transferable vote systems, because there are a lot and it gets really complex. So, I'm just trying to make things simple here. And then once enough people reach the quota, or all of the seats have been filled, done. Boom, that's your set of candidates. Now, in terms of proportional representation in legislatures, you might think, well, how about open list proportional representation, or closed list proportional representation, or maybe even mixed member proportional representation? Well, those kinds of proportional representation are like really, really proportional. But, however, I believe myself as someone who is an advocate, well, not really an advocate, but someone who believes in ensuring that every single person gets a voice. Even I would concede that maybe not everyone should be given a voice, especially in positions of power, because when it comes to proportional representation using open list or closed list or mixed member proportional representation, there will be a lot of fringe parties that would get elected, and then this would just be a chaotic, an utterly chaotic legislature where almost nothing gets passed. And if you're in a parliamentary republic, if a government is not formed in that legislature, it will just collapse and another election is called, which is incredibly destabilizing, and it is such a huge, it is, how do you say, mentally taxing to just keep voting all the time simply because a lot of extremist parties do not wish to be pragmatic and form government with all the other parties. So that's the main worry I have with closed list, open list, and mixed member proportional representation, which is why I would go with the single transferable vote to complement with single member races using ranked choice voting, just so it would be incredibly seamless. All of the positions up for grabs are voted by rankings. So those are my reforms or those are my oversimplified explanations of what I think should go alongside the abolition of the youth council, or of every single youth council in the Philippines. Proportional representation through the single transferable vote. Anyways, that is it for now. Thank you so much for watching. and I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.